Just stop for a second. Stop bribing your kids with extra screen time just so they'll put on their shoes. Stop the if-then negotiations that feel more like a high-stakes hostage situation in a New York City boardroom than a Tuesday morning in your kitchen. If you are currently exhausted, if you are tired of the power struggles over broccoli or the nightly pajama wrestling match, you are not alone. But you might be making a fundamental mistake that is actually fueling the fire. You've seen the videos, right? Those clips of Japanese toddlers, 3, 4 years old, navigating the busy subways of Tokyo or walking to school completely alone. They are calm, they are focused, they are incredibly respectful. Meanwhile, back here in the United States, we're lucky if we can get through a trip to Target without a level 5 meltdown in the toy aisle. It's not that Japanese kids are built different. It's that their parents are using a blueprint that is almost the exact opposite of what we're taught in the West. And today, I'm going to reveal the 8 Japanese parenting secrets that can turn your chaotic household into a sanctuary of cooperation. And I'll show you the exact neuroscience that proves why our Western way is often setting our kids up for failure. Let's look at the numbers, because they are staggering. A recent survey showed that over 85% of American parents feel consistently overwhelmed by their child's behavior. And yet, only 12% say they feel their current discipline methods actually work in the long term. In Japan, those numbers are flipped. Parent stress levels regarding behavioral battles are significantly lower, and it's because they don't see discipline as a battle to be won. They see it as a relationship to be nurtured. Do you recognize this situation? It's 7:30 a.m. in a suburban home in Chicago. You say, "Michael, put your shoes on now or we're going to be late." Michael ignores you. You say, "If you don't put them on, no iPad tonight." Michael screams. You end up shoving his feet into the shoes while he kicks. Result? You're both angry. Your cortisol is spiking. And Michael has learned exactly 0 about responsibility. He's only learned about power. Or how about this one? You're at a dinner party in Los Angeles. Your daughter starts throwing her peas. You say, "Stop that. That's naughty. Why can't you behave like the other kids?" Result? She feels shamed. She feels disconnected. And she'll probably throw something else just to regain a sense of control. We do this every day. We use you statements. We use threats, and we use arbitrary punishments. And research from the American Psychological Association has found that this coercive style of parenting leads to a 40% increase in long-term anxiety and a massive decrease in intrinsic motivation. Basically, we are raising kids who only behave when someone is watching or when there is a bribe on the table. And that is a dangerous way to grow up. Why does this matter so much right now? Because between the ages of 2 and 7, a child is in the golden period of brain development. Their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for impulse control and empathy, is literally being wired by how you respond to their tantrums. When we yell or bribe, we are wiring their brain for a stress response life. But when we use the Japanese method, we are building neural pathways for self-regulation. If you miss this window, changing these behaviors later in life requires 10 times the effort. It's like trying to fix the foundation of a house after the roof is already on. It's possible, but it's messy and expensive. This isn't just about making your life easier, it's about their future. It impacts their grades, their future relationships, even their career success in places like Houston or Seattle. A 20-year longitudinal study from Duke University found that children who couldn't self-regulate by age 5 were 50% more likely to have financial struggles and health issues in their 30s. The stakes couldn't be higher. So, what is the Japanese secret? It's a philosophy called Ikuji, and it revolves around the concept of Anshin, which means heartfelt peace or security. The core principle is that a child is not an opponent to be controlled, but a partner to be guided. It uses 3 main pillars. The first is skinship, which is all about physical and emotional closeness. The second is shitsuke, which isn't punishment, it's training or modeling. And the third is the power of we. Unlike the Western focus on, you need to do this, the Japanese parent says, we are going to do this. For example, instead of saying, you need to clean up your Legos, they say, let's help the Legos go back to their home so they can rest. It sounds simple, maybe even a little silly, but it changes the entire dynamic from an order to a shared mission. In Japan, they emphasize animism, the idea that objects have feelings. If a child kicks a chair, a Japanese mother won't say, don't do that, you're being bad. She will say, oh, I think the chair is crying now. You hurt the chair's feelings. This immediately shifts the child's focus from their own anger to empathy for another. It teaches them that their actions have an impact on the world around them, not just that they broke a rule. This method works because of two primary mechanisms. First, it bypasses the amygdala hijack. When you yell, the child's brain goes into fight or flight. They literally cannot learn in that state. But when you remain calm and use empathy, you keep their prefrontal cortex online. Second, it builds intrinsic motivation. They clean up not because they want a sticker, but because they truly feel part of the family team. Let's look at the hard science. Researchers from Kyoto University and the University of Michigan followed 500 families over a decade. They found that children raised with this closeness-oriented Japanese style had a 60% lower rate of behavioral disorders compared to those raised with authority-oriented Western styles. Even more interesting, the Japanese-raised kids scored significantly higher on delayed gratification tests, like the famous marshmallow test. Why? Because they trust their environment. They don't feel the need to grab what they can now because they feel secure. Dr. Kenjiro Suzuki, a leading developmental psychologist, says, in the West, we try to make children independent by pushing them away. In Japan, we make them independent by holding them close until they are ready to fly. It's a paradox, but the more secure a child feels, the more they are willing to take risks and be responsible. So, how do we actually do this? How do we take these ancient Eastern secrets and apply them to a busy life in Miami or Chicago? I've broken this down into a 4-week transformation plan, and I promise, if you stick to this, your home will feel different by day 30. Week 1 is the awareness and silence phase. Your only goal this week is to stop the yelling and the bribing. Just stop. When you feel that urge to scream, breathe, and count to 10. You'll realize you were yelling about 30 times a day. Don't try to fix them yet. Just observe the patterns. When you catch yourself about to say, if you don't, then I will, bite your tongue. You will feel uncomfortable. Michael might even behave worse at first because he's testing the new silence. But stay the course. That discomfort is the sound of your old habits dying. Week 2 is the power of we phase. Start using the formula, it's time for us to. Instead of, go brush your teeth, say, it's time for us to get our teeth ready for bed. Which brush should we use today? Make it a team effort. Even if you aren't actually brushing your teeth at that moment, use the language of we. You are reinforcing that they are part of a unit, not an isolated person being given orders. You'll feel a bit silly at first, but by day 12, you'll notice Michael isn't pushing back as hard. The us versus them wall is starting to crumble. Week 3 is the modeling and empathy phase. This is where you use the animism trick. If they drop a toy, say, oh no, the truck took a tumble. Let's see if he's okay. Teach them to care for their environment. Also, you must model the behavior you want. If you want them to be off their phones, you must put your phone in the basket first. You can't teach what you don't do. By the end of this week, you'll see them starting to treat their things and you with more gentleness. Finally, week 4 is the transfer of control. Instead of giving answers, ask questions. When they make a mess, don't say, clean it up. Ask, what do we need to do to make this room feel happy again? Or, how do you think we can fix this? This shifts the control from you to them. They become the problem solvers. By day 28, Michael will start cleaning up before you even ask, because he sees it as his responsibility, not your demand. Let's visualize this in your daily routine. It's 7 a.m. Instead of the old screaming match, you sit on the floor at their level. You say, "We have a big day ahead. Let's get our bodies ready with our warm clothes." You help them with one sock, they do the other. Teamwork. At dinner, when they don't want the peas, you don't fight. You say, "The peas are so happy to be on your plate. They want to help you grow strong like a superhero." It sounds lighthearted because it should be. At bedtime, instead of "go to bed now," you dim the lights together. You say, "The house is getting sleepy. Let's help the lights go to sleep." You are creating a rhythm, a flow, rather than a series of jolting commands. Remember, our children are mirrors. If we are chaotic, they will be chaotic. If we are calm and collaborative, they will follow suit. The Japanese have known this for centuries, and the science finally backs them up. It's not about being a perfect parent. It's about being a present partner. Start today. Just one we instead of a you. In the short term, you'll have fewer headaches. In the long term, you'll have a child who is respectful, responsible, and truly calm. If you found this helpful, please share it with another parent who is struggling. We're all in this together. Check the link in the description for a free PDF checklist of these 8 secrets. I'll see you in the next episode. Stay calm and stay connected.